You were on point and still are. Don't believe the hype. Sometimes you're so right, it feels untrue. When you have so many confirmations coming at you from all over the universe, coming at you from forward, behind, on the left, or right, left, you may not know where to look. You may not know where to turn as far as your own confirmation goes. Figuring out what's real and what's not. Because these types of things are meant to cause disillusion. These types of things are meant to cause you to be confused. They're meant to leave you in a disarray of belief. You aren't meant to be so right and to be so clear with your understanding as far as this simulation goes. And when it comes to being on point, you're very on point. So don't allow anything to throw your instinct off. Don't allow anyone to, don't allow anything to take you off of the path that you're on as far as what you know is happening around you. You know what's happening around you, and you're very well aware of the things that you experience on your day-to-day basis in your daily life. You know what you see. You know your experience better than anyone else. So anything other than what you know to be true, as far as your experience, is only there to confuse you or to cause disbelief in what you believe, in what you know and feel is true. It's a very confusing state to be in when you know something to be real. You know something to be a part of your reality. When that gets snatched up from under your feet or wiped away from you, there's not much that you're left with. What you originally thought you had some understanding on has been crushed or destroyed. And that's some cold work right there. To have something that you know as a foundation, something that you're well aware of, something that you're on point with, because you have been trusting it for quite some time. Quite a while you've been trusting these instincts of yours. And you know, or should know, or will know, what's going on around you, what's taking place in your world, in your reality. And when you're so advanced, because of all the things, all the trials, all the tribulations, you can pretty much pinpoint whatever is going on or happening around you. So, ex-nay the confusion. Away with disbelief. Away with confusion. Away with not believing in yourself and knowing what you know to be true. Because when it comes to instincts, they have a lot to do with what you think and what you feel. Because an instinct is something that you inherently feel. It's something that you know inherently. Something that you pick up on. And these are things that need to be kept to oneself. Because if you already know what you know, then you know. This is something for you to know and for them to find out if they happen to. But mostly it's just for you. It's not for anyone else. It's shared from the universe, shared from a higher power, shared from God to you via your mind, your thoughts, downloads, down to every bit of experience that you have. So when you know that something isn't right, or if you know that something is off kilter, if you know that something is wrong, if you know that, wait a minute, something about this seems a little out of touch, out of place. You heard Hall & Oates. If you're out of touch, you're out of time. That's a fire track right there. So, your instinct is all you have when it comes to this program and this simulation. Because the things that are happening to you as far as what you have to deal with goes, if you're recognizing routines, if you're recognizing patterns, if you're picking up on the strange, odd, weird behavior in others, and you have pretty much, for the most part, become extremely skilled at being well aware of what other people are trying to do as far as this harassment goes, as far as this stalking goes, as far as this targeting goes, you know. So it has to come a point to where you are able to develop a level of trust with yourself about what you see and what you experience. But one might question themselves because you don't want to think it's everyone, even though it pretty much seems like it may be majority. You still have to have a clear space, clear headspace for righteous judgment as far as using your discernment. God gave us all a mind. You know how to use your mind. You know how to interpret good behavior from bad. You know how to tell other people's behavior, which isn't right, from the behavior which is right. You know when a person is moving in a way in which they shouldn't around you. Something about that is not going to feel normal. Something about that is not going to feel right. It's going to feel like you may even have an extra set of eyes on you, or a pair of eyes on you. Or it's going to feel like the energy around you is muddied up. Your Wi-Fi, your frequency, your radar, your antennas are going to go up. And they're going to pick up on it. That's God watching out for you and watching over you. And your angels trying to alert you about your environment, about some things that are happening either around you, so that way you can get away or move to a different location before something may happen to you. And you have to trust those instincts. The minute you don't trust your instincts, that's when things can go wrong. The minute you stop feeling that you're right about something that you know you're right about, that you know is real to you, that you know is true to you, that's the moment you begin to doubt yourself, when you should be trusting yourself. Now, when a person is in a state of self-doubt, they're going to second guess. What that does is waste time, causes you to not be able to think properly, causes you to not be able to function the way you normally would, because you have so much else going on in your mind for you to focus on other than paying attention to something, realizing something, recognizing something, and moving on from it. When you doubt yourself and you have crazy makers trying to warp you, you begin to think, wait a minute, is it me? Am I the one causing the issue, the problem? How come I keep having similar issues with other people? You know what they say. If you keep having the same issue with others, it's not them, it's you. But when it comes to the simulation, whether people know it or not, and they may not be aware of it, but that seems and feels like gaslighting terminology, because someone is deliberately trying to get you to think or feel that what you're experiencing isn't that. And if you know what you feel, think, and experience to be true, there shouldn't be any room for doubt. There shouldn't be any room for you for second guessing. Because after using something for a while, especially when it comes to your body, any body part, it becomes, depending on which one, it becomes strong. You use your arms for a while. You're going to develop muscles. Same way if you use your mind and develop your mind a certain way. It's going to turn into a rock. Jarock. Your mind is going to become solid like a rock. Your faith in yourself is going to become developed. It's going to become strong. But second guessing and self-doubt is a point of weakness. It's a point of not believing in yourself and thinking what you know as real to you to not be true. And as someone that goes through what we're describing in this video, you don't have time for that. You can't risk that. Because if you have been watching a show for a certain while, you know how that show is going to go. It may be a new episode. It may even be a new cast. But you pretty much know or have an idea how things are going to go. So they could throw in some new faces. They could throw in some different places. But as far as certain things go in this simulation, you pretty much know what to expect. Isn't that right? Hit that like button if you pretty much know what to expect. Put a thinking emoji in the comments if you pretty much know what to expect. So when you pretty much know what to expect from a show or from some type of street theater, in our case, you pretty much know how certain things are going to go. It's like a video game. If it's the same game and if the game doesn't change except for the level and a few different characters that are pretty much moving the same way except for a few techniques or styles, you pretty much know how this thing is going to go. So trust those instincts. Because odds are, if you've been dealing with a particular thing for quite some time, you have a good idea of how it's going to go. You're well aware of what's happening around you. You have a keen eye for the things that are happening in your environment. So there's no need to second guess yourself. What you know to be true already is. Why need confirmation on that? Why need validation for that? You're the main one who's supposed to be confirming. You're the main one who's supposed to be validating your own experience. After all, it is you experiencing it and living it on the day-to-day basis. So, second guessing and self-doubting would really throw an individual off, especially one who would consider themselves in a situation similar to the one I'm expressing in this video. So if you know to be true what you go through, and you feel that this is what you go through, continue to believe in yourself, not just what's happening around you. Continue to believe in you. Continue to know that you are right about what you are seeing. It's just that there's a game being played on your mind. And they want you to not think that you're on point. They want you to think that you're wrong. They want you to feel that what you are going through isn't what you're going through, when you know, without a shadow of a doubt, you know it to be true. If something takes place and there's something that doesn't want you to think that's what happened, what else is there to do with that idea or with that thought or with your mind? How else is a person supposed to think or feel after that? Except that, I was wrong. I didn't get that right. That causes confusion. That's double thinking. That's being wavered. That's being unstable. Because you're wavering from right, am I right, am I wrong? Am I right, am I wrong? Am I right, am I wrong? When you know you're right. And this isn't to get a big head, or this isn't to try to prove anything. This isn't to compare ourselves or our journey or our experience. This is just for you to be able to trust yourself, trust your mind, to know that there's nothing wrong with you, to know that there's just some sick things happening in this reality, and I need to separate it from myself as much as possible, because self-doubt, when dealing with things of this nature, you can't risk it. Not believing in what you know to be true in this situation could possibly cause you to stumble. You don't need that. Especially when you already know that you were right. And it's not about being right as much as it is about mental stability. It's not about that. It's about being able to trust yourself, trust your decisions, make right decisions, make good decisions, and know that you're not broken. To know that there's nothing more wrong with you than anybody else. To know that you are on point. Because when you're right about a lot of things all the time, one could begin to question themselves and to think that, how could I be right most of the time, if not a lot of the time? Because nobody's right all the time, for the most part. But you very well are more than likely, without a shadow of a doubt, on point, like a number 2 pencil. So when self-doubt comes along and second guessing comes into play, you're going to have to make sure that your mind is strong. strong enough to expel self-doubt, strong enough to expel second guessing. When you see something, God shows it to you, and you feel something, of course, reason with yourself. Of course, don't just assume things or always go with your opinion. Take notes. Take a mental note. Be aware. Be focused. Be alert. Pay attention to what's happening around you. Because being on point is very helpful, especially to a situation like yours if it's similar to the one that I'm describing in this video. Because you have to be a judge for your life. God's not going to come down from heaven and make judgment just for you as far as your day-to-day life goes and the things that you're supposed to be discerning yourself. That's the whole reason behind him giving you free will. And on top of that, discernment. You have a mind and you're supposed to use it. There are some things that happen that you can't explain, and you just have to accept it for what it is. And if you go away from that, you could possibly end up more wrong than you ever could be. You could possibly end up more wronged than you ever could be. So you have to develop a good relationship with you. You have to develop love for you. You have to develop trust for you and within you to avoid making the wrong choice or any mistakes out here. A mistake is something that you already knew, that you were already aware of, that you redid after not knowing it the first time. And you don't need any more of that. And that's what second guessing and self-doubt will cause. Will cause you to make mistakes. It'll cause you to go back on things that you know are right and true. And then you end up doing the opposite of what you should have done, which causes you to make a mistake. So trust those instincts. Know that your discernment is connected to a higher power. You're guided by your instincts. You're led by your instincts. Things that you inherently know to be true and to be happening around you. And don't let anything allow you to feel any other way. Because when you start second guessing and you start feeling that you aren't right, that's when unnecessary, unwanted, unneeded things can happen. And we all need a little positivity in our life, if not a lot. And the main way to stay positive is to discern yourself away from what's negative. So keep moving smartly, keep moving intelligently, keep moving wisely, keep moving righteously and correctly as you can. Because there's no time for you to feel any other way other than what God shows you to be true, and for you to believe and trust and rely on that. And I'd like to thank you for watching this video. Smash that like button. Smash that share button. Your main man Druuill is back in effect. And I will see you all in the next video. We out.